Welcome, everyone. It is Sunday, April 7th, 2024. I'm Robin, the co-host, and this is the Morgellons Call of the Week. You know, we are so blessed and fortunate to have a community that we can reach out to and be part of, because Morgellons is a misunderstood, isolated disease, and people judge us. They think we're crazy. They think it's all in our head. I remember when I first got Morgellons, I had a lesion that was, I want to say, about 4 inches wide, and it was on my belly, and it was like this open sore. And I went to my dermatologist, and he said, "You have to stop scratching yourself." I was like, so anyway, it's hard to find people who understand about Morgellons, but you're in the right place. And we are so grateful that this place happens to have Richard Kuhns as the author of How to Get Your Life Back of Morgellons, Lyme disease, and other skin parasites. And, you know, it's not head knowledge, it's experiential. Richard experienced these things, and he came up with amazing, effective solutions for your environment, for your skin, for your body, for your stuff, for your car. All of those aspects have to be dealt with, and Richard's book in the 13th edition, it's like an encyclopedia of how to get your life back. And I'm so grateful to be part of this group. It has helped me tremendously to get my life back. And, you know, so Richard is here. He answers questions. He does research. He answers emails when he can find them. And he's here for us. He cares deeply. He's compassionate. He's patient. Sometimes he's a lot more patient than I am. But, and I'm grateful for that. So at this time, I would like to welcome Richard Kuhns, the author of How to Get Your Life Back from Morgellons and Other Skin Parasites.
Thank you, Robin. It's a pleasure to be here. Yes, I answer emails when I can. Recently, we had to shift over from my Verizon account to an Outlook account in order to send out the emails that each of you get. And it's a brand new system to me, and for some reason or other, Outlook kept a whole week's worth of emails before they released them to me. So yesterday it was catch-up time, and sending out answers and communications that people had sent in as long as a week ago. So if you email me, I apologize, and I do get to them as often as I can. If you send me a questionnaire, I usually will get it back to you within a day with evaluation and education and a detailed protocol, detailed recommendations. I may as well talk about recommendations right now. The FDA requires me to inform everybody that before you start this amazing King diet or accept any of my recommendations or that of any of our coaches, and as Robin said, we have many coaches, that you discuss them thoroughly with your doctor to make sure they do not interfere with any health problems you're presently experiencing. The AMA requires me to inform you that none of us are trained licensed physicians, and federally, only trained licensed physicians can diagnose, treat, cure, mitigate, or prevent disease, and we do not do that. We are allowed to educate, and what we can educate you is how to make the diet work, how to clean your environment, how to clean your skin, and how to build health and immune functioning through our various targeted supplements that are compatible with the diet. So every week we have a different topic or a guest. This week I'd like to introduce our coach, one of our #1 coaches. who's been with us the longest of, I think she's been coaching actually longer than Robin, who's been coaching a long time. And she we were fortunate to have her as a greeter for a couple of years. And she's just an incredible person. She has a tremendous amount of energy. And her name is Ethel from Florida. Hello, Ethel.
Hi, Richard. How are you? How's everybody else?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm fine. It's nice and sunny here. I've been listening to the weather reports from the other people, and it seems as if we are all having fairly decent weather right now. A little chilly in Western Mass, but yeah, it's sunny, so that's a plus for all of us. But I'm fine, thank you.
That's great. Robin said to introduce ourselves from, our name and the state and so forth. Well, I'm Richard from Earthquake City. We had the earthquake very close to us just a few days ago. Now, how long have you been in the program, Ethel? And how did you learn about the program?
I would say that it's been about 6 years because I was probably about a year and a half into this condition prior to someone being kind enough to tell me about getting in touch with you guys, specifically in regard to the Nature's Gift debriding soap. So it's been about 6.5 years, I think.
Now, as I remember, your homeopathic doctor referred you to us. Was that right?
Absolutely. Here in Volusia County, where I am, she has been treating like Morgellons patients, and she was the one who told me that she had had patients to come in and say that they had had some great success with the Nature's Gift, and she said, please try it. And so I walked out and got into my car, and I called the number that she gave me, and I got in touch with Chris at that point. So yeah, she absolutely was unselfish enough to do that.
That's wonderful. Now, you've coached about how many years now? You've been working with us and coaching people.
I'm still on the job, Richard.
I know. How many years? How many years have you been doing this?
If anyone knows Richard from day one, you're going to be enlisted. So probably right after the initial, no, it was a few months after I had started following the protocol that Richard asked me if I would be interested in coaching. So it's probably been maybe 6 years, I would think.
Yeah. Right. And how many people do you think you've coached over that time? I guess.
Well, initially I was doing the welcoming part of the program, and prior to the Sunday call, I was contacting people personally via telephone and asking them to join us on Sunday, and I kept a log of that. And I think I had logged in about 1,500 people. I don't think all of those people, they did not, come to the calls, and I certainly did not coach all of those, but certainly a good portion of people that I did have contact with.
Great. So now you volunteered to share some of your experience today. I forget the title of what you have a little something for us prepared that you'd like to talk about?
I do. And you were talking about how we are only able to educate, that we cannot, say that we can cure anything. And I want to, first of all, preface what I'm going to do by a little information probably from high school when we learned about some vehicles for writing. And several of those were a soliloquy, where you have the character that stands on the stage and actually talks to himself. Then the aside is when the actor comes to the front of the stage and engages with the audience. And there's also the stream of consciousness, whereas a writer just sits and just whatever comes into his or her head, you just write it down. So I'm going to do a bit of all of those today with my presentation, with your indulgence.
Sure.
And I think that maybe some of my questions and my quandaries that people might be able to identify with or get some information from it, and have some questions to ask later. So it's just that I've read, my topic is lots of questions, some speculations, and a few definites.
Okay.
Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
So, yep. Continue.
And these are just things that I ask myself. When did I get this? Was it in 2001 when I first learned that I had a large itchy circle on my back? Was it in 2002 when I was diagnosed with IBS, the intestinal bowel syndrome? Or was it in 2017 when I went to the Airbnb and was bitten by bed bugs? I don't know if those other things led up to my being good and right for the bed bug bite that was the vector that perhaps gave me the condition that I'm suffering with now. I also ask myself, is this organic or is it inorganic? Or is it man-made? It moves and migrates like an animal, or is it moved along by the flow of fluids as water moves rocks and stones? I ask myself, is it a combination of inorganic, organic, and man-made? Is it like bots? I think these kinds of things have come to my mind because so often, whatever this is, it does not respond to a lot of the things that you would think that organic things would respond to. So I'm just wondering if it's a combination of all of these. I also would like to know if this, I ask myself this, could this condition develop as a result of what I've ingested, like nanoplastics, the lab-made products? What is Splenda made of? What is coffee made? What additives do they put in? And the nanoplastics, they recently found out, they found those in the placenta. So it has gone across the blood barrier and actually have gotten into like the fetuses. So is our body trying to expel these things that we've ingested? I'm just wondering. And if it is organic, why do antibiotics work only as long as I'm taking them? Is this bacteria? Is it a fungus? Is it a virus? What happens to my natural immunity when pharmaceuticals are taken? Is this the ugly, evil stepsister to Lyme disease? If so, can it be combated by taking supplements recommended for Lyme, like a combination of Japanese knotweed, Sida acuta, cat's paw, Kokogami, Ghanaian quinine, also known as cryptolepsis? Is this associated with the Borrelia, Bartonella, the Babesia? I'm just wondering if these are all part of the condition that I suffer with. Is this airborne? Can it be contracted by contact with infested people, articles of clothing, furniture, and animals? I wonder, is it a waste of resources to pursue conventional Western medical treatments? For me, I think I get from them what I can and what's useful, like my Seroquel and my hydroxyzine. How can I have a somewhat normal life with this condition? Maybe I can just have an outdoor picnic. I can pursue a hobby that can take me outside, and I can really be kind to myself. That's very helpful in approaching this. Have I derived or felt any positive impact in my life as a result of this? That's difficult to think of when you feel like you're really being eaten alive. But I do feel that I have derived some very positive, solid things health-wise as a result of having this. I was not a big proponent of any supplements prior to getting the skin parasites. I felt that I had a very good diet. However, as I look back on it, if I had a potato chip, I had to have some dessert afterwards. So probably it was not the best diet in the world. But now following the King diet, I can see tremendous results and also have overall my health is so much better than it was before. So the diet and supplements, those have been real positive. I have more empathy than I had before. I truly can feel the pain of other people and want to help them. So it has made me more empathetic. I'm less critical of others and myself. And I have increased faith. Also, can I help the medical community to believe this is a physical condition, not a psychological one? I said to myself, if I am willing, if I find a physician who is willing to listen to me, I try to articulate my condition very calmly and express myself very logically so they won't think that I'm a real loon, as they have already kind of precluded when you first mention you have something you think that's, biting you and itching and whatever. So I've tried to approach it very, very calmly when I have opened up and talked about it. I could also consider donating my body to an organization that's doing research on Morgellons and skin parasites once I leave here. Or I heard that there is a program at the University of Oklahoma where they are actually doing some Morgellons research. So that's something I could do to try to help the medical community be more sympathetic and more understanding of those of us who suffer with this. Am I too embedded, enmeshed with my animals? They sleep with me. They eat the same food that I eat. I wonder, has their body chemistry changed as a result, which makes me more susceptible to diseases associated with them, or vice versa? They can get diseases that I have. I ask myself that, have I become too embedded with my domesticated animals? Now, those are a lot of things that I have some questions and a few answers about, but there are also some very, very definite things that I know. I know that the diet is really important. And I've gotten where I really like the diet. And when I get off of it, I find myself like wanting to go back to having my garlic and my onions and my Kerrygold butter as the basis for everything that I prepare, as far as like the broccoli or green beans, because I know that I'm doing something that's very helpful for me and it's also reducing the environment for these things to flourish. I know that I have to read all labels because there's a possibility that something is going to be slipped in there that's going to throw me off the mark as far as the diet is concerned. So, for instance, I looked and I saw, and I'd heard Robin and others talk about it before, and I really looked carefully, and there was dextrose in the salt. And I thought, are you kidding me? So here I went off and I stood in the health food store, had to buy the more expensive salt, and made sure it was just the pure sea salt without sugar added. Another thing, we have to be careful of the additives that they have. It seems as if they have to put something in to keep it from clotting. Let it clot. I can just, shake it apart. I don't need another chemical in my body. So we have to be very careful and read the labels. Toothpaste. I went into the dentist, and he was going to help me out, so he recommended this very expensive toothpaste for me. I was using it, and I decided, let me just read the label, because it was really sweet. There was sugar in it. So I thought, forget this. So now I'm brushing my teeth with Big Salve or with soda, making sure there's no sugar there. So I do know that we have to be very careful and make sure we read the labels and make sure there's no sugar that has been added to a product. Otherwise, it will increase the activity and make an environment where these organisms, or whatever they are, bots, whatever, will flourish. Having a support system is essential. I really don't know what I would have done had I not come across this particular Sunday call and been able to come in and listen and get information and apply the different things that were recommended to us. And I've been with it for quite a while, and therefore I've seen it grow. And as Richard and others have found out other things that have been helpful, we've been able to implement those. And it's been extremely helpful. And just to have other people to reach out to and talk to, and they don't think that you're some, you're off the spool or something. They realize that you really are suffering from it, and I feel the same way when I talk to others. I know that they are not just emoting, but are really, having quite a time with something that is physical, not psychological. I got better. I will say this for myself. I used to live near a lady who had a feral cat colony, and very early on, the city had come in and had taken away 26 cats and neutered and spayed them and brought them back, and they felt that the colony would die out. Well, it never did, because she was constantly bringing in cats. I finally had to make the decision to move away, because whenever I went outside to my mailbox, I was going to encounter one of the cats or many of them going by. So I made the decision to move. Expensive, inconvenient, all of those things, but I want to live and want to get better. So I did that, and I must admit, since I did that, I have improved tremendously. I know not to become upset, back again, when conventional medicine has no effective treatment protocol for me. Hopefully, over time, one will be developed. Like it took time for them to develop penicillin, the salt vaccine, the vaccine for measles, and the same thing for COVID. So I'm not going to rag on the medical community too much. I'm trying to give them some time to really recognize this, and hopefully there's someone who is behind the scenes that we don't know about, who is really working, trying to determine what this is. That's my hope for them. I know this is a very costly condition. I think if I would add up what does it cost me in my medications, in my moves, and losing all of my furniture, my car, getting a new car, getting rid of all the furniture again, and just it's probably been close to $75,000, $80,000. But guess what? I'm worth it. So I bite the bullet. Someone said, how do you keep going to the bank and keep getting loans? I keep my good credit. And so I'm very credit worthy. And so whenever my credit cards get kind of hot, I go get a loan and do consolidation and just start working on that. And I don't worry about it. I just make sure that I take care of the payments each month and move forward. But I'm worth every penny that I spend on myself. I'm not narcissistic or anything like that. It's just that I've got a lot that I've got to do here before I leave this place. I know I'm so much improved since I first contracted this on August 7th in 2017. I have pictures I've taken to document stages of this condition, And when I do get into a slump over maybe one spot that's just taking forever to heal, I'll go back and look at those and say, oh my goodness, look where I was and look where I am now. I finally became brave enough about a month ago to share those pictures with a friend of mine whose father was a dermatologist, probably one of the first ones when it became recognized as discipline in medicine. And she's been very supportive, but I'd never let her see the really bad state. And she just looked at him. I said, so when I go to a doctor and he tells me I'm delusional, I said, they don't want to look at this. She says, oh, no, absolutely not. After she looked at the pictures, because there was no way I could have done all of that damage to myself. So it's good to kind of look back at where you were and where you have come and not be discouraged. I know that supplements that boost the immune system have helped my body to fight this condition, including, as I said earlier, ingesting plenty of garlic and onions. I also know that I am hopeful, and I know that a positive attitude has helped me. I see myself as being worth the time, the money, and the energy I have to expend to maintain a near normal life. I know that my daily spa indulgence, immersed in hot water, infused with Nature's Gift debriding soap, vinegar, and tea tree oil, or maybe some of the other combinations we know that we use. If I'm gonna, maybe sometimes I'll put the baking soda and the Nature's Gift and maybe a different kind of oil. Clove is a little hot, and peppermint gives me the chills, so I try to stay away from those. My major holdbacks to moving to, I know those helped me greatly, and my major holdback to moving to another country, which is because I don't think they would have enough hot water down there for me. I'll have to go to a warm weather climate because I cannot, I just never been able to do cold weather very well. So when I think of, oh, well, I'll move to, maybe the Dominican Republic, or I'll go to Costa Rica, and I'm thinking, well, I don't know. I've been there. They didn't have very much hot water. And I need that with my, for my debriding soap, and I need to have a bathtub. So I know those are things that I can't do. I will close with this. I know one day I'm going to die. I'm not saying from this condition, but inevitably that's something I'm going to do. I'm going to check up out of here by knowing that in 2019, I made and paid for my arrangements. I did not and do not want this to be a burden for someone else. So I've taken care of that myself. In spite of dealing with this, we've still got to do things that we would have I don't know if I would have thought about paying for burial if I hadn't gotten this. I was having a good time, but it did make me realize that this is something I might need to take care of because I do not want this to be a burden for someone else. So I'm not trying to end on a downer. I'm just ending on a reality. Guess what? I know I've talked long enough, and thanks for listening.
Well, thank you so much, Ethel. I'm so happy and honored to participate in your life. And you've said a lot. You've asked a lot of questions, and these questions all of us come up with. Are these nanobots? Where they come from? Are they from Lyme disease research? Are they from chemtrails? All this stuff. Is glyphosate involved? GMOs? And well, I think probably a hodgepodge of everything contributes in one way or another. One thing that every one of us end up doing is we end up evaluating our own situation, and if we're fortunate enough to find an answer and get out of this misery, then we think the answer we found is the answer for everybody. For instance, a week or so ago, a registered nurse sent me an email informing me that she's getting her life back through bee venom therapy and working with Megan Wells, and this is the approach that I should be promoting to everybody in my group here. And then about maybe I guess about a month and a half ago, one fellow wrote me an email, and he said, to inform me that really he's figured it out. He went to a doctor, and he's figured it out that I should tell everybody that the problem that causes Morgellons is nocardosis, a bacterial infection causing ulceration of the skin and nodules that many people report having. Okay? So it's like he's educating me that he's figured, and then somebody else writes me an email and says, lufenuron cured me of Morgellons. Well, for those of you who are familiar with lufenuron, it is very valuable, very important part of my protocol. But it has nothing to do with Morgellons. It gets rid of fungal. Well, that would mean for that person, Morgellons was fungal, which, okay, is not true. No more so than this fellow had Morgellons as a bacterial infection. Or people write and say, well, Morgellons, there is no such thing. Everybody has Strongyloides cervicalis. If you treat for that, there is no Morgellons, So, and then, of course, we have people who say, well, it's Lyme disease. If you go the prescription antibiotic route, you'll get rid of it and you'll be healthy. Well, I did it, and it didn't work for me, nevertheless. So everybody has their. I applaud them in finding an answer that's got their life back, but then they assume that means Morgellons is their particular ailment, and that everybody's got the same thing, whether it's Pseudomonas aeruginosa or Staphylococcus aureus. Many of these other people are Bartonella. They get rid of them, and then their Morgellons disappears. And for many people, these organisms. I spoke with a specialist in Europe. I forget his name, a few years ago, and he was convinced Morgellons was helminths. That means nematodes, worms. There are many different types of helminths: pinworms, roundworms, tapeworms, and so on. So everybody gets convinced because they found an answer with, and just about 3 weeks ago, about maybe 3 months ago, a lady wrote me and said, her doctor diagnosed her, I forget which one of these it is, and treated her with oxygen therapy and got rid of it. So, and now that doctor is thinking, well, I'm going to go in the business treating Morgellons because everybody's got the same condition. They got Morgellons, and oxygen therapy is going to be the answer. Well, bullshit. None of these are the answers for everybody, because it's the cofactors, and many of these cofactors can be dormant for years. Intestinal parasites can be dormant. Strongyloides can be dormant. Lyme disease can be dormant. Many of these. And some of these are simple, typical bacterial infections, like Pseudomonas. It's around us all the time. It's on our skin. And along comes Lyme disease, along comes Morgellons, and boom, all hell breaks loose, and you fall apart, and you try this and this and this and that, and if you're lucky enough to fit the right thing, like this lady with bee venom therapy with Megan Wells, and thinking, well, that's the answer, and she wants to write a book now. She solved it for her, and she wants to write a book. I wrote her and said, after you've communicated with about 5,000 people, then you might be qualified to write a book and have an understanding of what it's all about. First of all, bee venom and therapy, as I understand it, is administered by a professional. Not everybody has a professional around. Oxygen therapy is administered likewise by professionals, and not every, you know, one of my favorites would be rifing. I think rifing would be the right way to go for everybody if it were affordable. And if the AMA weren't so goddamn stupid back in the 90s when they decided to go with penicillin and kicked out Dr. Rife, we might have a different world here today instead of depending on these prescription antibiotics to do the job for us. And even the Charles Holman Association, they have research published. And if you look at that list of research about the mental, they did a study of 12 individuals with prescription antibiotics. 9 of them, well, 3 of them had Morgellons and Lyme disease. The other 9 only had Lyme disease. And out of the 12 studies, case studies, if you look at them all, there was only 1 that was relieved of symptoms. All the others had either no benefit or after they stopped the antibiotics, just as you had said, Ethel, the symptoms came back. There's a resurgence of the symptoms. So, you know, the bottom line is to look at Morgellons is not just to look at what causes it, but what to do about it. Because in my estimation, in my opinion, Morgellons is not a big problem. It is easy to get rid of. The antidote is boron and alkalizing your body. For instance, I've had 2 people write me and tell me that just by taking baking soda, by adding baking soda, their Morgellons cleared up. And baking soda is part of my protocol. It's cheap, it's easy, it helps alkalize. Why not do it? So it's amazing. So if we were really to look into what Morgellons is, we wouldn't look at what Morgellons is. We'd look at the cofactors. The cofactors, the Lyme disease, the Strongyloides cervicalis, the virus. There's viruses involved. There's rose gardener's disease, pyrotosis. There's all these cofactors. And if we tested for these cofactors and dealt with them, Morgellons would be. And of course, the King diet can make a big difference in making all this work. That's just as Ethel. What stage of the diet are you into now? Are you into 2 or 3?
Anything I want to eat.
Whoa! Stage
With
3.
moderation. Yes, in moderation.
Absolutely, moderation. You can have. You know, the diet is very restrictive. Stage 1 is like walking on a fence 6 feet tall, just 2 inches wide. It's real easy to make mistakes, as you shared. Sugar is salt. Stupid. But, you know, it's not an intentional mistake. It's just that we need to be very careful about what we put into our body. And today we have the biggest problem ever. We have stupidity in the FDA and allowing Monsanto. You know, GMOs are barred in many countries. Glyphosate is barred in many countries. Third world countries, they know better than we do. You know, and if you look at glyphosate, it is patented as an antibiotic, a low-level antibiotic. We had this problem with chickens, with all these chicken farmers, Purdue and everybody, loading them up with antibiotics so their chickens wouldn't die before they would kill them to feed us. And the antibiotics got in our systems, and that was recognized. So even the chicken companies are not allowed to put antibiotics in their chicken feed anymore. But it still goes into many corn, even many vegetables are the GMOs. And the GMOs, they are insecticides that are in the germ, that grow in the plant, that when a vermin or a parasite that is going to eat that corn or whatever, it ingests it and dies, but that comes into our gut as well and erodes the gut biome. And the gut biome, well, with Morgellons, your teeth fall out. Many people have gum problems and issues like that. All that bad biome gets into the gut and destroys the gut if the glyphosate didn't do it anyway. So anyway, I want to thank you so much for being a part of our program, for contributing as a coach and helping so many people. And as I said many times, I think we have more coaches in our system than most programs have success stories. It's amazing. And the fact that you can eat anything that you want just goes to say it's all worth it, because it's a short-term period between stage 1 to stage 2, and then a couple of months before you can eat anything that you want within moderation. So thank you so much, Ethel. I'm honored to have you be part of our team. Thank you.
But thank you, Richard.
Okay, that concludes this portion of the program.
Welcome, everyone. It is Sunday, April 7th, 2024. This is the Morgellons Call of the Week. We have had a most interesting time so far today with Ethel and Richard covering a multitude of topics, and we are now entering our Q&A section of the call.
Okay, Chris, who do we have? Anybody like to ask a question?
Nick.
Hi, Nick. How you doing?
How you doing, Rich? Thank you so much for having Ethel. I've been on this program for, since 2020, and Ethel was a very big help to me, educating me, and just helping me getting my life back.
Let me interrupt. This is amazing. I don't know of any other program in the entire world as the one that we have here, where we actually have free coaches, and Nick is one of them. People who have gotten their lives back, know how the diet works, can help others, be available to support others. As I said, we have more coaches than most programs have success stories. Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
Yes, I've been on this program, like I said, since 2020, and I first was introduced to this in 1994. Back at that time, I don't know if anybody experienced this, but I was on a regular diet. I did not know what was going on. I had stuff crawling up my rear end. Constantly.
I'm sorry.
I didn't sleep for 6 months. At that time, I would scratch. Nonstop.
Misery.
I think at that time it was at its strongest. I think because that's when people, I think, first started getting it. I don't know.
Well, we've had, I've come in contact with people going back over 30 years that have had the symptoms, even though the word was not coined until around 2002, Morgellons, but they experienced it for over 30 years.
Right. When you say stuff about when I lived in the Philippines, you're exactly right. They're like, I'll give you, for instance, like we're so stupid here in the food industry that their saltines are made out, it says on the back, made out of lard. Like they're smarter than we are when it comes to this stuff. When it comes to that, yes, absolutely. They don't, they eat totally different from we do. I had to learn how to eat again because I'm like a compulsive eater. I got my life back, and then I got struck in with it again. But I don't do the same things like I was taught. Being in an Italian background, I was taught they eat a lot of garbage. They just do. Italians do. I'm not saying everybody does. Maybe not today, but when I was growing up, they're.
Well, you you can't go into a grocery store and not see a lot of garbage. Everybody's complaining about inflation, which in my opinion is not inflation, but it's Putinflation. But you don't need most of what's in the grocery store. You don't need all that soda. You don't need all that.
I mean,
all that garbage.
I would say if you get your life back, if you want to eat that hamburger or something like that, I would prepare it at home. I wouldn't go out as much.
Right.
Because you don't know what they're doing in the back and stuff like that. I mean, that's unavoidable if you have a lunch meeting or you want to go out with your friends. I understand that. But, you know, everything's got to be in moderation. I got to say one thing about the healthiest people I ever seen in my life. When I was in Florida, I met a couple. I don't agree with their whatever they think of, but I see the healthiest people I ever seen in my life were Scientologists. They don't eat nothing garbage.
Right. The diet. You are what you eat. Is definitely what goes in.
I've seen a guy 75 years old that's into that, whatever the hell it is. He looked like he was 50 years old. I couldn't believe it.
Right.
I mean, they're a little weird, but
you know what you're talking about. You know, just during last week, Coach Sharon had sent us a great article that I passed along to everybody about toxicity and how to get rid of toxicity and what things to look forward to. You know, most of us just think that the corporations out there are being monitored so that the government is somehow protecting us, the FDA is somehow protecting us. But, you know, Ethel talked about toothpaste earlier, having sugar in it. Well, you keep reading the label because there's even Crest in one of their brands has sodium lauryl sulfate. What the hell does that have to do in sugar? They put that crap in detergents. And what the hell has it got to do with being in detergents? Because it contributes to rashes and skin reactions and stuff like that. And then it has glycerin in it as well. And glycerin is not a good thing to put in your body. So
yeah, the other thing is that, you know, I don't know what they did. I was researching something in the 50s. Like they used to do, like they didn't know back then, like, they used to have this thing. I'll give you, for instance, they had this thing called the fluoroscope. People would walk into a shoe store.
Yeah, an X-ray. It was X-rays.
X-ray fitted shoes. Who
right.
knows how many rems that was pulling off?
Oh well, absolutely. It was a fun thing to do. Every time I went to town, I'd stand in the thing and look at my bones. You know, that was fun.
I mean, people used to put their heads in there. Probably all kinds of things.
Well, I never saw that, but.
I seen people. The guy goes, "Look how clean their clothes look." They were going in dry cleaning fluid. I mean, I don't know what that does to your DNA when you're passed along and you're conceived. I don't know what that's.
Well, anyway, Nick. Yeah, let's move on. Thank you so much, and I'm honored to have you be one of our coaches. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich.
Okay, who's next, Chris?
Lisa.
We could talk. Nick and I could talk all day about this, but hello, hi.
Lisa?
Hi.
I just had a question about the debriding soap.
Yes.
I had wanted to order it, and I'm actually inpatient because of Morgellons, but they don't want to say it's that. But I can get like deliveries here. Can I place an order over the phone for that? And
oh yes, you just call Chris, and he'll give the number later at the end of the program. He'll give you a number. We'll give you a number to call tomorrow. Okay? Or you can even call him today. All right. Thank you. Who's next? And I hope you get out of the hospital.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Now that my record's destroyed, I'll never get medical help. But
Lisa, you could call me 732-272-7952 tomorrow.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? 732?
732-272-7952.
7952. Great, thank you very much.
Thank you. Vivian,
Hi.
3404.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. Where are you from, Vivian?
Okay. I'm in South Carolina.
Okay. Did you feel the earthquake a little bit?
No, I didn't. I
No,
heard
okay.
about it, but...
Robin felt it a little bit up in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
So how can I help you? How can we help you, Vivian?
Well, I think I'm guessing anyway, my situation is due to bird mites.
Okay.
I've had it off and on, and I did catch one and got it under a microscope, and it was identified as a bird mite.
All right.
And I bought your book, which was very helpful. I've been on a even stricter version of the King diet ever since I was diagnosed with cancer way back in 1997, and got rid of the cancer.
Let me ask you one question. The diet that you were on, were you allowed to have olive oil and fruit?
No fruit, but olive oil.
Okay, so yeah, that would be a big problem with the King diet, as I hope you know. Okay.
Yeah, I tried the rice oil, and it did not work for me at all.
How do you mean it didn't work for you?
Oh, it just made me feel horrible. I got a headache, and I could tell my whole nervous system just like tightened up. And
that's interesting. Anyway, rice bran oil is just one of the oils. You can also have any animal fat, and you can have butter or ghee, which is even better.
What about
Robin.
Coconut oil?
No coconut oil unless you have no calendula. And you see, chapter 4, it's very important to study that, because there's differences between the diet with people who only have Morgellons and those who only are dealing with calendula. Now, do you have any feelings of biting or itching around your ankle? Feel like something's jumping on you that itches and bites, but you can't see it?
I'm not around my ankles.
How about your eyelashes? Are they kind of like crusty around the eyelids and eyelashes?
Sometimes.
Okay. That could be that you're also dealing with calendula. It turns out from the evaluations that I do, and this is an education, is that roughly 80 to 90% of the people who complete the questionnaire are not only dealing with Morgellons, but also calendula. Now, when calendula is in the picture, the diet is just more strict. It's just stricter. So if you were only dealing with Morgellons, then you could consume coconut oil. But if you are also dealing with calendula, then coconut oil will activate them. But it actually is a good way for you to figure out what you're dealing with, because if you can have coconut oil, well, then that means you're not dealing with calendula. You're only dealing with Morgellons.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I had been pretty good for a number of years, and then all of a sudden this spring I got attacked. But I have a wayward friend who is an alcoholic, and he depends on me to help him manage his money. He's disabled, and so he comes over every day and gets money out of an envelope or every other day that I put money into, and sometimes he helps me in my yard, but I think I got too close to him. I don't know how these things transmit like that, but he's been dealing with these bites for months, off and on for years, and I think maybe I got them from him. I just noticed a bird nest about a foot from one of my windows in my house today with a bird sitting in it, nesting on her eggs. So I'm not sure where it came from, but I got another infestation, and it is really, really aggressive, more than any I don't know, it's just so different than what I've been dealing with the last few years. It's been easy with the soap and peppermint menthol, burning menthol in my room. I've been able to keep them at bay, but so I ordered, my question is, I'm getting around to, is I ordered some of the lufenuron.
Lufenuron, yes.
Because it seemed like from the extreme irritation of my skin that I must be having some kind of mold issue with the mites.
Is it burn? Do you have burning of the skin?
Sometimes.
Does your skin burn? Okay.
Sometimes.
Yeah, according to WebMD, a burning sensation like athlete's feet or that would be a skin fungal issue. But the lufenuron is good also for the columbella as well as working with the mites. Specifically for the mites, though, I sent out, I think it was just yesterday, about nitenpyram, which basically is a medication that destroys mites in your skin within 30 minutes or 30 seconds. I forget. It's pretty fast. The key for you is really to nail down where the environment is reinfecting you and get rid of it. If it's a bird nest, then I don't know, is there wind that is blowing in your direction from that bird nest, or the bird may have to get rid of the bird nest? I don't know.
The mites are so small, they can crawl in through the window.
Oh yeah, they're very tiny. So you need to disinfect around the windows and wherever they may be coming in. That's a challenge, is figure out where it is. Like Ethel was saying earlier.
This friend of mine that I help out, we could be reinfecting each other.
Well, when you're around him, do you feel any activity when he's in your presence? Do you feel any activity? More activity?
I try to stay away from him, but I did go out and he was helping me with some yard work, and so we did pass tools back and forth, and afterwards, it wasn't well, but it was afterwards is when I got a couple of bites.
How soon afterward? Like 20, 30 minutes?
Probably hours.
That's possible. It's possible that where you were working.
Yeah, and I haven't gotten my grandchildren since this showed up, and it's been almost a month now, and I'm so sad.
Yeah, I know, it's prudent. Yeah, it's prudent of you not to have them over until you get a fix on this and get your life back and whatever. You see, these organisms are also in the environment. They're in the ground. About maybe 7 or 8 weeks ago, I went to a customer's home and I was in the backyard, and about maybe 3 or 4 hours later, I noticed the activity around my ankles. They're everywhere. So you're never cured of them. As long as they're in the environment, you can always get them. Fortunately, yeah. I don't live at that house, but I do have them out in my patio, and I need to take care of that routinely. I use the Garden Safe Fungicide 3 to treat the area. If I'm too lazy to treat it with the guard, I wear boots back there, so I'm not going to get infected by them. You know, it's silly sitting out in summertime with boots on, but that keeps them away. So the idea is you got to do what you can to treat the environment. If you can't, you need to wear boots.
Yeah, I got this time. They came to my neck, so I don't know.
Did you get a straight line? Did he bite you and you have a straight line?
No, it's like a circle,
like
with several little bites. Yeah, but there's lots of them, and so there's like little patches of.
So that seems like it's some kind of flying organism that got you, because bird mites don't fly. Bird mites crawl. They're not capable of flying.
Well, I wonder if it's a fungal thing.
Well, a fungal thing wouldn't bite you like that. No, if you got bites that developed that quickly, that wouldn't be fungal at all, unless you were submerged in a rose bush or something like that. Then rose gardener's disease, people, they fall into a rose bush and they come out with spiritosis.
No, that's interesting because one time a few years ago I got attacked on my back when I was trimming back a rose bush really bad.
Mm-hmm.
But it was different than what I have now.
Yeah.
So I must just be susceptible to these things.
Well, that's true. And we do have in our store the Parasite Stop Herbal Formula, which has been very beneficial for many people in that it reduces dopamine uptake in the brain, and it replaces the need. Ethel mentioned that she uses Seroquel. Seroquel is one of those medications like Orap and what is the antidepressant Abilify. They reduce dopamine uptake in the brain. Rifampicin does it as well. Not Rifampicin, Risperdal does it as well. But that could be helpful.
What do you think about trying I already ordered the lufenuron, and my friend wants to try half of it, but he drinks every day, so I don't know if it's even going to help him because...
Well, again, the diet is critical. If he's dealing with these organisms, anything that people do may help. I mean, there are people who just buy our soaps and don't do the diet, and maybe only about 20% gain any value. The value of our products go exponentially up as you make the diet work. When you make the diet work, then you put the two together, and it is amazing. You get your life back. Of course, you need to disinfect and clear out the area. That's going to be a challenge for you to figure out exactly where these organisms are coming from. Based on what you described, it sounds like they are a flying organism, and I don't know if they're, it's like no-see-ums are flying organisms. You can't see them, but you feel them bite you when you're walking around.
When I had the bird mite bites, they were on my back. And so it wasn't like on my legs or around my feet or my arms or something.
Well, again, bird mites don't fly. You would have to lie on something where they were to have them bite you on the back. They don't fly. They crawl.
So if they got onto my bed, maybe.
If they are on your bed and you laid on your bed, then yes, you could get bitten.
Yeah, it's so hard to figure out.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
Oh my God! And the Morgellons thing is so weird. It's so otherworldly. The fibers and stuff I've seen it under the microscope. It's like unbelievable.
Yeah, that's one thing. And the cofactors, the mites are a cofactor, and it's important to wipe them out in order to really get much benefit in getting rid of the Morgellons or getting your life back. Because they too are carriers of the Morgellons. We don't know what the hell Morgellons is. It's no typical virus that has ever been identified. It's no bacterium that's ever been identified. It's no fungus that's ever been identified. We don't know what it is. But all these cofactors we know suddenly become of paramount importance, and just like you're experiencing, whatever this mite is and the source of it is important to get rid of in order to get your life back. So, okay. Well, thank you. Keep coming back.
Well,
I've given you some thought.
Can I just recap? So, you mentioned
nitenpyram. Nitenpyram. It's one of the medications on the Shop for Morgellons site.
Okay.
Now,
so do you think it would be...
nitenpyram.
Should I start with the lufenuron, and if it doesn't work, then go to the other?
Well, I don't know if it's a matter of working or not, because until you get rid of the organisms from the environment, there's not much that you benefit you're going to be doing. Even you could be perfect on the diet, but if you're reinfected by the environment, now, if it was outside, you don't go outside anymore, and that takes care of that.
Oh yeah, that's hard. I
Well,
love my.
wherever it was, if it was a particular area outside, you just don't go there. Like they're in my patio. I have a choice. I can go there, but if I go in my patio where the swing is, I got a big patio. But if I go to that section, I have to either treat it before I go there, or I need to wear boots if I'm going to be there more than a couple minutes.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Okay, so you have to figure out what your limitations are. So if you can figure out how you can minimize or eliminate your contact with them where they were, then that's fine.
And are they very contagious from person to person? Like
it depends. I think it's a pheromone thing. So they are to some people, but other people. I mean, we have husbands and wives that live together, and the wife has it, and the husband thinks she's nuts and crazy because he can't understand it. Then in other families, everybody has it.
Yeah.
Worst thing mentally is to contribute to giving it to somebody else. The guilt you feel, particularly, God, it's terrible. The guilt that you go through. At least it was for me.
Yeah. I know. That's why I've been very isolated. I'm very careful. But it's taxing to be so isolated from my family.
I know, and there, you were better, and you can get your life back. You just have to figure out how to either stay away from the infecting source, or you know what Ethel did. You know, Ethel actually moved. She physically moved away from those feral cats and that environment. She physically moved. So you need to have to figure out what is best for you. Whether you live in a sick house and the house is a moldy, infested place and you need to get out of, or like your environment, if you can't handle the environment outside, you need to look at moving. It's unfortunate, but sometimes that's the best choice.
Well, it's very humid and muggy here, so I'm sure I never had anything like this until moving here to this area.
Yeah, well, it may be going back to where you were. Where were you before?
Oregon.
Maybe back to Oregon, perhaps.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. It's too expensive there. So I'm probably going to have to stay here, but, oh, God, okay.
Or find some place. Yeah, you're welcome, and keep coming back and give us a report on figuring out what you can do about minimizing or eliminating your contact with them, these organisms.
Okay, if anybody wants to be a buddy with me, how would I find out? Like.
Okay, at the end of the program, we'll have an unrecorded portion where we'll give out all that information.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, who's next, Chris?
Carol Ann.
Hi, Carol Ann.
Carol Ann. How are you?
How are you, dear?
Well, I'm turning into a Floridian.
A Floridian, okay.
I think, and I want to say that Ethel and Robin have helped me tremendously. I was about to be able to eat anything, but in the middle of moving, I had to unpack so much. And, you know, no matter what, I did everything in the tubs, the menthol crystals. You're going to pick up some in the move. But the house, inside, I'm fine. But now I'm starting to do things in the yard, and I'm just letting other people do it right now because I know the yard's got to be treated. And what did you say you put in the yard besides your weed killer and the bug sprays? Is that the one that doesn't have any bad stuff in it? Yeah,
that's Robin. You want to tell her?
I think it's called granular G, something G, and it's a dry powdery stuff, and then you wet it down. I did it twice last year, and my yard was totally clear.
Ooh, granular.
from Do Your Own Pest Control or Do My Own Pest Control. I think it's called
Do you sprinkle it down, Robin?
Yeah. And I tried to
Okay.
do it just before it would rain, so I didn't have to water the whole yard.
Okay, because
to activate it.
I know they say it's humid and everything in Florida, but actually Georgia was, to me, worse than. It's been nice here so far, so good. So,
Great.
But question. Okay, so the salt in butter. I wanted to ask you. All of them, even the Irish one, they all have salt. There is one that has sea salt. Do you know?
If salt by itself is not a problem, the problem is salts that say they have sugar in it. It would list sugar as an ingredient if it was a problem.
In butter?
Anywhere. Yes.
Well, you know, you
It
can.
does not have any sugar. Okay.
High blood pressure.
Okay. I don't have that.
Yeah.
Okay. That was one question. Then I did not know dextrose was in my salt, and I've got a very expensive sea salt. So, and I've probably been aggravating. And then I accidentally busted my shin on the coffee table, and Morgellons got in it. So they put me on, I'm just finishing antibiotics, and they are horrible. You are so right. So I'm on the dark chocolate fudge that's on, phase 1 for my prebiotics. And should I go stricter, Richard, when you are coming off what the doctor says to do? It is better, and it did not get too far into an infection, so that's good. But still, those things are horrible for people with Morgellons. They're just because we have enough going on.
What are you asking? I'm not sure what you're asking.
Should I order the? I've been off the one that has the garlic. That's like an antibiotic that you have. Should I get some of that going now that I'm finished with it?
Yeah, you're off of Garcillin.
Okay.
Yeah, Garcillin is a natural antibiotic, antiviral. That's our answer to prescription antibiotics.
I cannot believe I'm going to have to figure out online where to find some salt because I'm not sure. I'm so new in Florida. That's just terrible. But anyway, and another thing I wanted to ask you is I live in the cul-de-sac and there's a farm, and sometimes the roosters come through the side, and but they're always at the back of the fence running around, not really near my patio. Are they going to cause me trouble? I haven't noticed anything, but anyway.
No, who knows? Most likely there would be no issue.
Okay, so just keep the yard sprayed, and the salt and butter's okay as long as it's just pure cream and salt. That's it. Okay.
Well, who knows what the salt in the butter is? I go with the unsalted butter. Or ghee, I wouldn't go with the salted butter.
I know, but it has a natural flavor. You don't know if it doesn't have the salt.
Well, you don't know if it's going to be an issue or not. If it is an issue, then you need to find ghee, which has nothing else in it. Okay?
Okay. And there's one that says sea salt, but see now, the sea salt could have dextrose in it.
Yeah, it's hard.
So, see, those things could be aggravating me.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Right,
Carol Ann also is one of our coaches, and she's moved from Georgia to Florida and has encountered some issues on the move. So it's life.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Carol Ann. All right, who's next?
Yeah, but basically, Richard, I say I have my life back due to your program and Ethel and Robin, and if you really follow and listen to what they say and do it, if you work the food plan, that is, and boy, when you don't, it's just like Nick said, you're going to pay a price, But I'm almost where I can eat in moderation, like once a week or so. something different that I want, which is great.
Okay,
Wonderful.
thank you. Thank you, Carol Ann. All right, who's next, Chris?
Thank you.
Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
Hi, everybody. Well, first and foremost, I just want to say I just love you, love you, love you. There is nothing that I wouldn't do for you, Richard, in the whole wide world. You have helped me to get my life back. I can't do enough to toot your horn because you are absolutely heaven sent. Robin, I attempted to do your job last week. I was like a deer in headlights. Let me just tell you, I had a great respect for what you do. Just let you know I appreciate you as being the co-host with Richard there. Now, my simple question is this. Now, with the supplements and when you're dealing with a youth, when I recommend supplements for a youth, for a small child, should that be in increments of a half dosage, or is the dosage the same for those supplements that I recommend?
How old is the child?
He is 7, I believe.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a matter of personal thing. Legally, I think most of the supplements say consult your physician before you administer them or whatever. So from a legal point, I really can't give you advice on that, and because that's just the legality. All I can say is my son, when he was like 3 years of age, back then I was taking Rainbow Light multiple vitamins, which were compatible with the diet. They no longer make that variation, but those tablets were like horse pills. I mean,
right.
And, so you have to use your own judgment. I can't legally advise you one way or the other.
Okay. So the Gardasil, the regular supplements, it's fine to recommend them, but to yet tell them to use it at their own discretion?
Well, yeah, use it at your own discretion. We can't get legally in somebody says, well, my son has a problem and it's because he's been taking this Gardasil and
Right.
It's better off to say don't take it than to take the risk.
On the diet and just
Right.
the soap, the brighting soap and the diet, things that maybe the oils.
And use your own, have them use their own common sense. I mean, okay?
Okay. Thank you so much. Love you.
Thank you for those fine, kind words. Okay, who's next, Chris?
We are done, Richard.
Wow. Okay, that was pretty good. Now, yeah, I did want to touch one other thing, and that was the email that went out today was,
Can I ask a question?
Oh, sure.
I'm new too. It's my first time.
Well, welcome. And your name and where are you from?
My name is Alix, and I'm in Texas, in San Antonio.
Okay, wonderful.
And I've been dealing with Morgellons for 11 years, and I get them in flare-ups, and they last anywhere from like 2 months to 8 months has been the longest. And it's usually only on my chin. Right now, this current flare-up has been 9 weeks, and it kind of migrated up towards my eyes. And I'm a single mom, have a 5-year-old daughter. So now that I'm a single mom, it's become very, very, very difficult to figure out what to do. And, of course, the fear of infecting her and trying to get my life back together after a divorce and stuff. It's just been really difficult, and I'm kind of at a loss. I'm trying everything. I mean, anything that I can see to get helped in the Morgellons community, because nobody really knows what's going on. My parents don't believe me. It's very disheartening. I'm trying to research online, trying to self-medicate and use stuff that, like, I've got every single skin ointment you can think of. What's going on, I do have experience kind of like it looks like larvae. And I've gotten like videos. I'm obsessed with getting the evidence. And so I'm just wondering, like, is that part of the Morgellons? Because to me, it seems like it's like not just one type of morphology. That's not one life cycle there. It just doesn't make sense with the different things that I'm seeing.
Well, Okay, let me repeat what I said earlier. Morgellons is like the king on a chessboard. It's the most important piece, but not the most powerful piece. If you're familiar with chess, there's the bishop, the rook, the queen, and the pawns, and they all have their own powers. Right. Now, many people get pigeonholed, as I said earlier, into thinking that Morgellons is just fungal, or just bacterial, or just nematodes. All of these are cofactors, and there are no two people in the whole wide world suffering Morgellons, of the millions perhaps, that have exactly the same symptomatology. They're all different. And this is what confuses all the experts except me. I understand this. But so in your case, it may be helminths. It may be worms. All right? Now, what I want you to do is to complete the questionnaire and return it to me. I will evaluate it and send it back to you. Now, the good thing about my protocol is that it basically covers all of this. It covers bacteria, it covers viruses, it covers mites, it covers helminths, worms, it covers it all. And generally, for worms, in fact, for everybody, not the one thing, everybody, according to Dr. J. Davidson, a parasitologist here in New Jersey, he has a YouTube, and he said, in his experience, 100% of us have intestinal parasites. In his opinion, the first place to start in any treatment protocol, now I'm not here to treat you, I'm here to educate you. And according to him, the first place to start is get rid of them. That's fenbendazole, not ivermectin, not wormwood and black wallenhall, which actually feed some of the skin parasites. So the first place to start is fenben, and that is in my recommendations. Then we look at fungal organisms, and depending on your answers, then we may look at different supplements or medications for fungal organisms. So the first thing is to complete that questionnaire and get back to me. Every email that I send out, at the very top, it tells you how to access all the download page. So it's important to read the book, important to start the diet, get the program rolling. It's a lot of information. That's why we are here every Sunday to support you, to answer the questions and move you from one step to the next instead of getting stuck and plateaued and go nowhere.
Okay, right. Yeah, I feel like I'm like blind, kind of finding my way out, of the dark for sure.
Well, we have all been there. We have all been there. And Robin and Sharon and Ethel and Nick and all of us are here to support you in coming out of the darkness and getting your life back. We've had so much success.
Yeah, and I've been struggling. I'll be sober 2 years in a few weeks here. So I've been trying to put my life back together. It's crazy now that I want to live. It's like something's killing me. It's like it's not. It's definitely a struggle.
Well, yes, you can feel like the cleanest person in the world. You have the cleanest house and the cleanest laundry and have these things crawling on you and feel like you're the dirtiest person. That is with all aspects. You can feel like you're the cleanest living person, eating the best food, and doing everything good for you, and have these organisms totally make you feel less than human and less than adequate.
Will the diet cause me to lose weight? Because I'm having, I lost a lot of weight unexpectedly, unintentionally, and so I'm just worried about a diet will cause me to lose more weight or to not.
Carol Ann, you want to answer that question? Carol Ann, are you still here? Well, the answer is people will generally drop weight with this diet. The good news is that if you really focus on it and focus on your environment and cleaning your environment and your skin, stage 1 doesn't have to last more than a couple of weeks.
Okay.
And then you get into stage 2 gradually, where you can have walnuts, green apples, and other foods that you can start bulking up with. And even if, I think in the book, there's a section also about chapter 4, you definitely want to read it, because you can bulk up on certain foods, as I did and many other people do. For instance, animal skin, like chicken skin, that can help you keep from losing weight and contribute caloric-wise. So certain kinds of rice. Robin, you're the expert in rice. Which rice is the highest caloric content? Is it basmati? I forget.
No, basmati has the lowest sugar content. Brown rice has the highest calories.
So brown rice, you want to go with the brown rice, for instance.
I wanted to say one other thing about I think her name was Victoria, who had a question. She said rice oil didn't work for her, but there's a difference between rice oil and rice bran oil. And
oh, really?
Yeah. So, I mean, she would want to make sure that she actually had rice bran oil.
You know, I didn't know that when she said rice oil. I just assumed that she was thinking rice bran oil, because I didn't know that there was a rice oil.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, there is. There is.
All right, that may be the difference. We do have rice bran oil in the store.
Richard, am I on there?
You are.
Oh, okay, because you couldn't hear me a while ago. I got down to 90, and, I weigh about 100, and 105 is real good for me because I'm only 5'2", small bone, and the doctor says all my blood work's great. But I started making, the spelt pancakes, and there's one that Ethel gave me that's like a tortilla with one of the flours. Ethel, I can't recall it, but I've got it in my pantry. And things like that. And I use the brown rice and the brown rice spaghetti with spinach, powder and pasta, brown rice pasta, and good clean protein, and eat often. Eat something like one of my small pancakes. I might eat every hour or two something, and I'm up to about 102, and so that's real good.
So great. Now, in a little while, we're going to conclude the program, and I'm going to give out the phone numbers of all the coaches, so you might call Carol Ann and have her coach you. Okay?
Okay.
That'll be fine.
All right. So anyway, you're welcome. Keep coming back. We're here to support you, and looking forward to you becoming one of our coaches in the near future. How about that?
Definitely. Sounds good.
That's how confident I am in this program.
Yeah. Right. It sounds great. Yeah, I'm here to learn anything to help people too.
Okay. Now, like I was talking, see, all of us, once the people who are fortunate enough to get their lives back, you'll see them on Facebook, and they'll tell you that, you do this and this is what's going to work or whatever, or they email me. So the title of my book is How to Get Your Life Back from Morgellons and Other Skin Parasites. And a lady read that title and assumed that because it said other skin parasites, that I was saying Morgellons is a parasite. All right? And she wrote me with an exception. I very much disagree with your diagnosis of Morgellons being a parasite. After 30 years of suffering from Morgellons, I believe it most certainly is not. This is based on my experience. My experience is true for everybody. I believe it is a bacterial infection that stems from a tick or perhaps a mosquito-like bite, much like Lyme's disease. However, not exactly. I'm 60 in a few months and have dealt with it for 30 years. I believe it is a bacterial and hoards the minerals in your body that, see, we all come to conclusions. We figure this out, and we assume that we know what's understanding. Well, as I mentioned earlier, yeah, Lyme disease is one of the cofactors, but Morgellons is not a bacterial infection, no more than it was any the pseudomonas or anything like that. It is a parasite because a parasite is an organism that lives on or within another organism, the host, that's us, and depends on it, that's us, for survival. Once we're dead, it's not going to survive anymore. Parasites can cause harm to the host, and they most certainly do. But they rarely kill them, and that's true, rarely kills us. It kind of maims us. The relationship between parasite and the host is called parasitism. There are following factors that determine if an organism is a parasite. Host dependency. Parasites depend on their host for survival. I don't think anybody will disagree the fact that Morgellons depends on us for it to continue its like life or whatever. Harmful effects. Parasites can cause harm to their host. Well, that's certainly happening, such as by feeding on their tissues or blood or by transmitting diseases. Well, whatever it does, it's harming us. Adaptations. Parasites have evolved adaptations that allow them to survive in their host environment, such as developing specialized structures for attachment or by producing toxins that suppress the host immune system. And it certainly seems to fit that category as well. The point is that filaments and fibers it produces, and those filaments and fibers are the production of an organism, not a bacteria, the production of an organism of unknown origin, not a virus, not a bacteria, not a fungus does that, unless it's something brand new, but it is a parasite. So that concludes this before I close, Robin, you have anything to add?
No, I think you covered it.
Sharon?
No, I actually don't today. Well, other than I'd like to welcome everybody that joined the call this week, and I welcome you to come back and get more knowledge and get more tools in your toolbox to get your life back by Richard Coons.
Thank you. Ethel, you have anything to add? And thank you for your presentation. It was wonderful.
Yes, it was.
Oh, she may have left already. Mary, are you with us? Do a star 6. Oh, we have a whole lot of people.
Hi, Richard. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Well, thank you for allowing me to talk a bit today. The lady who wants to bulk up, I'm the specialist on, getting fat.
Okay.
I was worried when I lost mine, and I was real happy when it came back. But bulletproof coffee, they call it. Kerrygold butter and coffee, and with a immersion blender, froth it up like it's a latte, along with some Splenda is so good, and that will help to give you some calories as well. And thank you so much, and I really do appreciate the program and all the coaches and all the people who are involved, and you and Chris in particular. So thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ethel. Yes.
Splenda is not on the diet.
Splenda?
Oh, I didn't mean Splenda. Did I say Splenda?
You did.
You know what I meant. Stevia.
Yeah.
Okay, stevia. Okay.
I hate Splenda. It's that chemical stuff. Thanks, Robin.
That one slipped right by me. Yes, avoid chemical sweeteners. They are toxic. They are dangerous. They are terrible. And thank you, Sharon, for the article that you supplied this week. It was wonderful. I'm glad to share that with everybody. Okay. Love you all. Keep coming back. This concludes the program.
Love you.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Richard Coons, author of How to Get Your Life Back, and I mean you do get your life back, from Morgellons, chronic Lyme, and other skin parasites, welcoming you to managing stress. Now, if you've been a part of the earlier portions of the program, you have heard a hell of a lot of stress. A lot of people going through a lot of stress, of juggling and dealing with neighbors and dealing with their children and it being contagious or not contagious and all this kind of stress and worries. And it's bad enough to have the stresses of life with its finances and making life work than to have the stress of these organisms. And we always include a segment here to share with you different tips and things that you can do, and hopefully you remember to do them, because when you want to do them is not when you are stressed out to the point, well, yeah, even if you get stressed out to the point that you feel there is no more point, you want to draw on one of these techniques. I think last week, Robin wasn't with us last week, but the week before she did deep breathing, and we do tapping exercises. So you can always watch these videos to get these exercises. Listening to your favorite music. Go to YouTube and search for your favorite genre. Listen to the favorite music. Better yet, go to YouTube and search for healing vibrations. And tune into there's probably a half a dozen, and they go for about an hour and a half each. And all you got to do is click through the advertisement, skip or whatever, and listen to, because it's all about vibrations. We want to shift our vibrations. We're not going to change the conditions, but by shifting our vibrations, we can change the perception we have of the conditions. And by changing the perception we have of the conditions we're in, it's life-altering. Creativity. We solve our problems. We figure out whether the mites are in the yard or whether they're in the bird nest or whether they're somewhere else, and we figure out how to deal with them, how to get rid of them. We solve our problems with creativity. And believe me, when you're dealing with Morgellons and all the cofactors that are possible, you can't have enough creativity. Can you, Sharon?
You're muted. Sharon, you're muted.
I know. It's always me in the mute. You can never have enough creativity. The good vibes, I mean, they just keep you going. On the bad days, if you can think about Robin and that wonderful music, you could just poo-saw and make your day start, making that diet work for you, and then you're motivated to get that environment clean.
That's right. Amen. Okay, so music. And we are so fortunate that Robin is a professional musician. Not only does she do a fantastic introduction to her program and is a fantastic co-host and comes up with answers when I don't have any, she also is a phenomenal musician. So what are you going to play with us for us today?
I think I'm going to play Three Little Birds.
Two Little Birds. And she also has a YouTube channel. When you get an email that gives you the YouTube link to this video in a few days, there's also a list in there of her YouTube channel. So check her out. Okay, let's hear about the Two Little Birds.
Love it.
Don't worry about a thing, because every little thing gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing, because every little thing's gonna be alright. Woke up this morning, smile with the rising sun. Three little birds perched on my doorstep, singing sweet songs with melodies pure and true, saying, this is my message to you. Don't worry about a thing, because every little thing's gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing, because every little thing gonna be alright. You go, girl, gonna be alright. Gonna be alright. Gonna be alright.
Yay!
Love it, love it, love it. She's fantastic. Okay. Well, I want to thank each and every one of you for sharing our Sunday afternoon. I want to thank all of my coaches, Robin and Sharon, a greeter, and our coach, and Ethel for contributing today, and everyone else. And thank Chris for handling the mechanical aspects of the program. I love you all. Keep coming back. We're here for you. We know it's not easy, but we did it. We happened. And we hope to provide you the inspiration to stick with it, make the diet work, and get your life back. And keep coming back. Love you all. Happy trails to you.
Richard,
until we meet again.
Richard, we want to give them the number for the coaches.
Yeah, we will after we stop recording.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Happy trails to you. I gotta have my moment to let my vocal cords loose. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Love you all. See you next week.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Brian Fogg.